He's incredibly charismatic. And what can I say? He's tall, handsome, an athletic guy. And you would think that would be enough, wouldn't you? Yet those characteristics that one would look for in a mate take a back seat to his character, his loyalty, his compassion, his convictions, and his tenderness. I remember the first day I ever saw Jeff at a deli in Rybrook, New York. Ironically, I was having lunch with my friend Laura and the co-author on this book, and my daughter Sarah, who was 10 years old at the time. I looked up, and I saw him standing in the doorway looking around the restaurant, and suddenly our eyes met. He flashed me that 1,000-watt smile of his. I turned to Sarah and said, "How can I meet a nice guy like that?" To which Sarah said, "How do you know he's nice?" And being 10, she added, "Go say hi and meet him." I told her it didn't work that way. "Why not?" she asked. I explained that girls don't just walk up to boys and say, "I'd like to get to know you." She shot back, "Why not? That's stupid." Okay, so maybe she had me there. Jeff kept looking at me throughout lunch, and I'll admit, I kept sneaking looks at him too. The funniest part was we kept catching each other looking. I'd smile but turn away embarrassed like a schoolgirl who'd gotten caught staring at her crush. "What do you like about him, Mom?" Sarah asked. I told her I thought he looked confident but not arrogant, that he looked very kind, and that he had a smile that could light up the Empire State Building. It was right about then that Jeff boldly walked to our table and introduced himself and ultimately asked for my number so he could take me out to dinner sometime. I was single, but clumsy single. I was also not so quick to give out my phone number, even though I desperately wanted to. Laura, being a great friend, figured out right away that I was too shy and scared to give him my number, so she grabbed a pen from her bag and wrote my office number on a piece of paper and handed it to him. That was Saturday. On Monday morning, he had already called the office by the time I was off the air from Good Morning America. From our first date, I believe we both knew that not only did we feel immense chemistry, but we greatly admired each other and what we stood for in life. So I've always known he was special, though only this journey has shown me just how special. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My mother-in-law, Janie, often jokingly reminds me, "I've trained him well." Yes, you did, Janie. Of course her husband Donnie helped too. Going through chemo produces something known as chemo brain. It's a kind of fog that gets in the way of concentrating and hearing things the first time people tell you something. One day, Jeff laughingly equated living with my chemo brain with a woman putting up with a man's selective hearing. I love that analogy. Don't tell anyone, but I may have to milk this one for a while. I have always had wonderful relationships with my daughters, Jamie, Lindsay, and Sarah. I'm so proud of the lovely women they've become. However, a disease like cancer can connect and bond a family in such miraculous ways that relationships deepen, bringing out the very best in everyone. It can also send them running for the hills out of sheer panic, or worse, break them apart. My older daughters have been there for me in ways I could have only hoped and prayed for, but never fully imagined. They were by my side for every doctor's visit and treatment, regardless of what they had on their schedules, and despite my assurance that I didn't need them to be with me. They checked in with me daily, just to be sure I was keeping my glass half full, both philosophically and literally. When Lindsay gave birth to my first grandchild, her beautiful little girl, Parker Lee, in late August 2014, she gave me the most precious reason to maintain